5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. Now, here's Tom Silverstein.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. We are in separate locations. I'm at home and you're up in the North Pole somewhere. You're finally done with Santa. You deliver all your gifts and everything.
You know what, Tom? Thanks for asking, because I do have a large family. I have 7 kids, 6 daughters and my son. Obviously, my son's my favorite. He's named after me.
Better not say that in front of your girls.
Oh, no, they know. If you want to be my favorite, just do everything I ask. Like, whatever. So he does everything that I ask. His name is in the stadium, like mine. And for the most part, he understands that he's a daddy's son. But mom runs everything, full disclosure. But, I'm a sucker, Tom. If you want whatever you want, just be a good person. Everything's great. But the grandkids I got 6 grandkids. Now, talking to them on FaceTime, when you get like a 2-year-old holding the phone all up to his nose, because he don't want no one to help him, I'm like, just let him do it. It was great, though. It was a lot of fun, and it's still going on because I didn't know this. I don't know if many guys know it, but now they return packages and they got to go back out to the mall and back on online shopping. So it never stops.
All right. Well, I'm just going to stick up for your daughters and say they are forces of nature. I've met several of them, and they are impressive people. So anyway,
very blessed. Very blessed.
Let's move on to football. And
wait a minute. Now, I got a disclaimer.
Okay.
I got up? Janet on speed dial. You be nice to me because they won the game. They won the game, so you be nice. Okay.
All right. They did win the game, and if you want to be, Mr. Positive here, let's talk about the offense first before we go to the defense.
Yes.
Because I actually looked it up today, and the Packers have more snaps from rookie skill players than any other team in the NFL this year.
Really?
And by a lot. I mean, they have over 2,000 snaps just by their rookie receivers and tight ends. Wow. That says a lot about, or what says a lot is that they're still functioning as an offense. They continue to lose guys. They didn't have Jaden Reed. They lost Dontavian Wicks. But they're still getting contributions all over the place. And they had to rely a little bit more on Romeo Doubs this game. But, they've gone 8 straight games over 300 yards, total yards. So I think we're starting to see, the potential of what this offense could be in the years to come.
All right, Tom, wait a minute. You got to say that again. They have 2,000 what?
Over 2,000 snaps from rookies. Yeah, and we're just talking skill player positions. Jaden Reed has over 500. Musgrave has almost 500. Tucker Kraft has more than 500. Dontavian Wicks has like 300. I mean, we're talking about a lot of snaps.
That's a lot of snaps.
Yeah, it is. It is. And somehow, they're producing yards and points. I mean, they're not prolific, but they put 33 points on a pretty good defense, don't you think?
Yeah, I think yardage-wise, the coordinator for the Panthers, I can't say his name properly. I'll let the media guys help me with that. But that young man has a lot of respect in this league as being a coordinator, and people like his system, the way he can get guys to play. And it just seemed like to me that I have to give a lot of credit to Matt LaFleur because he's thinking, in my defense, they're not world beaters right now. We got to score. And to think about it, having the young guys, Bo, Melton, I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, Wicks goes out like you talked about. I mean, Tucker Kraft is a rookie at tight end, and no quarterback has had to go to throw this to these, lower level young guys, because you would think they would struggle as they did at the beginning of the year when it was a struggle just to score in the first quarter. Something changed, and I think a lot of that had to do with number 10, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because
I
you
think
think
so.
about weapons, it gets kind of confusing, because when you're talking about a quarterback, Tom, most quarterbacks need at least give me a true number one that I can always go to in a bailout. Well, that's number 9. Okay, he's injured. Well, okay, he's put him to the side, but then give me another number one. Jaden Reed, 11. Okay, then he's not playing. Okay, can you give me just somebody that wants all the smoke? I can give it to him in a crowd or by himself. 13, Wicks, he gets a chest injury. So now you're thinking, how are you going to get through the game? So my thing is, got to give something that they haven't seen before, and that's number 33. When Aaron Jones is there, Tom, that's that first 100-yard rusher this year, right? In a long time.
Yeah, it
So,
changes a lot when he's in the game.
And that's why you can offset it a little bit with all the receivers going down. But the offense right now is dragging the special teams and the defense towards the finish line. I mean, they're doing all they can because if they have a bad game, they lose the game.
Right. If Romeo Doubs doesn't make that controversial catch on the sideline,
yes,
it's not a game. And honestly, I sort of felt like if Carolina hadn't ran out of time, they might have won that game in the end.
Can we
if it
talk
had
about
gone
that
to
for a second?
overtime. Yeah.
I apologize.
Go ahead.
Because, sometimes I like to ask you questions. Let's go back to DeVito against the Giants. And they're driving down for a field goal to win it. It's the same thing mentally, driving down for a field goal to tie. I still got to be aggressive. The only time you could be a little passive when you need a touchdown, like you did against Kansas City.
Right.
Fine. So I'm thinking to myself, if they throw it in the middle, the game is over. They don't have enough time. But I didn't think the guy was going to be that wide open to even make it. But go back. How can a guy catches a ball and still get out of bounds to preserve time?
On the sideline. That's what you're protecting against. That is what you 100% don't want to give up, is that throw. You're right. And they get 17 yards out of it?
Yeah, and get out of bounds. And that's why I go back to when the Giants game that cost you. You can't play prevent where you need 3 to win or to tie. You got to play your stuff. And that's when you need the pass rush to really get there if you're going to rush 4. Or if you rush 3, worst case, they catch in the inbound time, the game's over.
And that's kind of the thing that was puzzling so we saw a different style of play, a different philosophy, same scheme, but a different philosophy, which was pressure the quarterback, pressure Bryce Young, send 5 guys, 6 guys, play a lot of man-to-man defense. They played more man than they've probably played all season long. And you're going to get beat in that kind of thing, but at least you're giving yourself a chance. You're giving your pass rushers a chance. But then it seemed like at the end, they got a little conservative again and they started playing the zones. And, the one thing we found out with this team is they cannot play zone defense. They just really struggle with it. And I don't know why. Maybe you can explain it.
Well, here's the thing about addition by subtraction or the reciprocal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jair's available. And your 2 first-round pick corners are available, 21 and 23. So Adam Thielen, as we know when he played with Minnesota, is a vet, true vet on the inside. It seemed like the game plan was to get Adam Thielen on 25, and we like our matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Spread you out, get the ball to Thielen, and just pray to God that 25 covers him, and that's where the ball's going. But even put that to the side, it just seemed like the younger guys, when 37 and 35 was out there, you play more man up and you just challenge receivers. And again, they get paid too. They're going to make some catches. But it seemed to be a little bit more stress on them. And the play particularly, and we're not going to do X's and O's, but this would be one that I would have lobbied for you to draw up, was when 36 made the hit, that was a 15-yard penalty. It never should have happened because they're playing a combination like a cover 2, and Jair jumps up to the flat and he threw it right behind him.
That's a great question, because I specifically, after the scrum, when we interviewed him about the coin toss, which was a whole nother story where he ran.
You got to explain that after we get out of this.
Yeah. But I went up to him and I asked him about that particular play because I was very curious. You and I have talked about that play where sometimes, so it's a high-low play, right? He's kind of in the middle between the low guy and the high guy. And there's a guy running over towards the sideline over, his shoulder, and then there's a guy underneath. And we've seen him drop back into that zone and make an interception on that play, kind of sucker the guy in. Well, so I asked him about that, and he said, well, it's a different deal because it was 3rd and 2. He said, I've got to play the sticks on that one. He said, I can't get too deep because we're still defending the first down. It was 3rd and 2. So you tell me whether that was his explanation for how that play went.
Listen, if you're going to be a top corner or a platinum person on the field, play both. Every corner can't do it. It's true. But you always play deep to short. He got a first down anyway. But had you give up a first down for like 3 or 4 yards, and you can see, maybe not on television, but in my film study, I did the right thing because there's a guy deep coming behind me for how far? What did you say? Was 17 yards, 18 yards?
17, yeah, something like that.
That's a big difference. High to low, not low to high.
Okay.
And maybe you thought because he's a rookie you could bait him, but no, you got the confound of what the books say: deep to short, high to low. Because you're helping the safety. I can't get all the way over there. I can get over there to make a hit, but I can't get all the way over there because what if the guy fakes the 7 and bends it back to the post? I'm dead meat.
Right, so right. So you can't over pursue. Yeah.
You're responsible for the 7 route and the out route. If we're asking too much, fine. But when you're the best, cover both. I said that to Fritz one day. I said, how am I supposed to defend Shannon Sharp on the bootleg and play the run? He looked at me like, I thought you told me you were this great safety. He was right. I can do both. I can cover Shannon for the bootleg and play the run. I can do both. Everybody can't do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
They can't. But that's why I'm out there. I expect you to do both. I can't put all this stuff on Joe Barry, some of this stuff. Sometimes as players, we got to self-govern and we got to hold accountability. Because you can't, there's no reasoning. If you had asked me that question that you asked him, I probably was gambling a little bit because I know better.
Mm-hmm.
I know better.
Okay,
give up the corner route. That's how I would have answered.
Yeah. So I think, in my opinion, what we saw was Matt LaFleur having some influence on what Joe Barry called. So he told him, let's be more aggressive. Let's play some more man. We'll do some 6-man pressures.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll start Jair and you'll have Eric Stokes, and they can both play press man to man. And I think what we found out was that one, that worked in the first half. And then I think Carolina made some adjustments. And then I think we saw that both Stokes and Alexander are not the guys they were before their injuries. They're not there yet. They're still struggling. I mean, they're still getting their legs back. They're still figuring out how to play. Now, the question is, do you have to just go through those hurdles, those bumps in the road, because to get them back to where you want them? Or do you sit there and play Carrington Valentine half the time instead of Jair?
This is going to be something I think that a message or something I want everybody in the locker room to understand what I'm about to say.
Mm-hmm.
This is bigger than anything you can imagine. You're playing for history. I'll explain it. You weren't supposed to be here. You lost a Hall of Fame quarterback, went to the Jets. Fine. Hall of Fame, arguably, if not Hall of Fame, okay, the best wide receiver. He left. The offense and the team was supposed to be a disaster. It was supposed to go back to the 70s or the 90s when we were 4-12 in 90, 91 or 6-10. It was supposed to all come crashing down. And some people thought it would when you were 2-5. This ain't supposed to happen. Let's make history. Let's make history by we're in the thick of things. And if you win these next 2 games, history, 20, 30 years from now, how good were they when Aaron Rodgers left? How good were their receiver when Devontae left? How in the hell are they in the conversation? You know what? Matt LaFleur, great coach, 39 games, broke Seifert record, 3 years, number 1 overall seed, playoffs. He don't get no credit for that. In the barbershop, they're saying, yeah, but you had a Hall of Fame quarterback. Aaron won all those games. Fine. If Matt LaFleur get these group of babies in the playoffs, that's history.
So
that's what I need guys to embrace. And that's what's frustrating. I need the guys to understand how big this is. You're not supposed to be here, but you're here now. You deserve to be here. Embrace it. So the vets, they could probably learn something from these young guys. Because the offense, like you said, they got all these guys in, and they're still competing.
So what are you saying, that the defense has not? I guess there's any kind of way you can look at what's happened with the defense. You can blame it on Joe Barry. You can blame it on the players. You can blame it on both. But what did they do? What do they do against the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears to turn that around? They got 2 weeks to do something. What do
Tom,
they do?
I apologize. They have to realize this. Yes, it's a team sport, but it's only one guy in that helmet. I'm going to make the difference for us to win. Just like 58, McDuffie sitting there, you think, okay, 59 is not going to play. Step up, 4th down. That was a big play on 4th down. I need guys to say, it's on me. That's how we're going to make it. Of course, it's a team game. But you have to realize that what you're going to accomplish is for the culture and the history of the Green Bay Packers. You're not going to have a great game all 17 days. And Mike Holmgren said the best. You can have a bad game. You can have a bad play. But it won't happen on Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. Them the game days. Pay attention to detail. Study. And trust your brother. Because now the Minnesota Vikings, they want TJ Hawkinson is out. Hurt his knee. So don't look at that as, oh boy, they don't have one of their weapons. No. They beat the Packers without Jefferson the first time. Jordan Addison, a rookie, scored down the seam. They're not releasing their quarterback because they want to play that mind game. It don't matter to us who the quarterback is. But the offense, Tom, has the special teams who has more penalties than anybody, and the defense just like a ball and chain around their leg, and they're dragging them. Like, come on, guys. So I just need every guy to look in the mirror. Not the mirror that shows just the shoulders up, the one that shows your entire body. I'm going to take this game over, and I'm getting us to the playoffs. There is no plan B. Plan A is the playoffs. And I think scenario-wise, if they win out, don't they have a good chance of making it like 98, 95%?
Pretty good chance. They need the Rams or Seattle to lose. One of those
and that can happen.
Could happen, yeah. It probably helped them that San Francisco lost last night because now they'll be playing to win all the way through the end of the season.
They can't sit, guys,
and they play the Rams again. So, so going into this game against the Vikings, there's a chance. They've gone with Nick Mullins the last couple of weeks. He's threw 4 interceptions on Sunday. I think he's got 6 interceptions in 2 games. They're not going to play Josh Dobbs. They might go with their rookie Jaron Hall. I want you to construct a game plan. They're not going to have Hawkinson, which is a huge loss for them. Addison's a little banged up. Justin Jefferson should be fine.
Yeah.
What do you do? Construct a game plan for me.
I'm putting 23 on 18 on Jefferson because it worked. So Jair can redeem himself and do what I know he can do. That's why I call him my nephew. I know he's capable of taking a game over. I know he's capable of getting a pick 6. So lock up Jefferson. Everything else, we got to rush. We got to get home with 4, Tom. 52, 90, 91, 55, let's go. 97, 93, 95, you get the push. 55, 59, you guys got to say, you know what? It don't matter. It don't matter where they put me. I'm going to make a difference. And the wild card is number 7. If Quay Walker, who's banged up, if he's playing at a high clip, I'm going to play a lot of what we call fire zones, 5-man pressure. But it don't matter the quarterback because Mullins is a veteran. But whoever you put out there, rookie, Dobbs, it don't matter. I'm going to give you some different looks. And I'm going to make sure There's no running the football. You got to shut the run down. Because what's the best friend of every quarterback? Tom? A running game. But if he's pressured to get the ball to Jefferson because the running game is shut down, he'll throw you a couple. And you just got to catch them. And the defense at this point, you got to win the game. You got to win the game. Because for some reason, if they start to blitz in Jordan Love, like the first time they were faking the blind floors, they got up and back, and I got to guess, they passed that part now. They've seen what the blitzing looked like against Kansas City. If you blitz me,
yeah,
I'm going to hurt you.
He's faced a lot of blitzing teams this year, and so
yes,
he's getting pretty used to it.
Yeah. Make them pay.
And it should be interesting if they can get Luke Musgrave back on the field this week, how they would use the two, him and Kraft. And to me, that's going to be a Matt LaFleur, test. If he has to figure out how does he get the most out of both those guys, and what kind of stress can he put on the Vikings defense by having both of them in the game together? What do you think is the, what's the quandary that Brian Flores faces if both those guys are in the game? Now, we have to also remember Musgrave's not going to be 100%. He hasn't played for 5 weeks. So, but if you can get them both on the field, how do you use them?
Well, Musgrave's one of my favorites. So to me, before he was out, he was your deep threat down the middle. You can go 3 wires, you can go 3 tight end, 1 wide receiver. That'll be number 9, Watson. On that surface, I hope he's available because he'll run past everybody. Remember his rookie year when he goes down there wide open and get a chance to redeem himself when he couldn't come up with the ball. 3 tight ends with 81 being that 3rd tight end, or Big Ben. And I will run the ball and I will play action, and I'm going 88 right down the middle. Put stress on their safeties to come in. They got one of the best safeties, of course. But their safeties are pretty good. But I will put a lot of stress on their linebackers to read and react. Is this the bootleg right here? Or did he give it?
Mm-hmm.
Did he give it? Or was it the bootleg? Keep him off balance. If Jaden Reed is the key, though, Tom, because if he's in motion, they don't know if it's the jet sweep or it's the screen. They have no idea. They're guessing. Keep them guessing. If it were me, I would substitute every other play and always put somebody in motion. But the 3 tight end look, I like that because at any time, if they go a heavy package, heavy defender, like bring in linebackers, fine, we'll split them out. And I'll put 88 out there by himself. If it's a safety or a linebacker, that's where they're all going. Because he got fresh legs, too. I know he may be a little rusty, but he got fresh legs. But him and 85 together, if they want to split them, they don't know which side is the bootleg side, which out the handoff side. Tom, that's because Jordan Love is amazing with his ball handling. Sometimes you never know if he gave it or not. Use that to your advantage if you got all your tight ends healthy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because Flores likes to use 3 safeties in his nickel, and they've got some pretty versatile guys at the safety position. They got some injuries at corner, which we'll see who plays in that game. But I also wonder whether there's going to be some receiver matchups that they might want to take advantage of. So I agree with you from the standpoint that rotate. Just keep bringing in all kinds of different kind of personnel and stress them with your personnel. I think that's one thing they can do now if they get Jaden Reed back, if they get Watson back, and if they get Musgrave back. But you want Jair Alexander on Jefferson? Do you want some help on him?
Well, it depends on where he goes. If it's all intermediate, no. If it's help deep, fine. But anywhere that's in the mid area, it's a chart where he catches all his passes and where he likes them. You got to be all over him. And I'm all right at times, getting a 5-yard automatic first down, that's fine. I just don't want to give up 65 yards.
Okay.
Just make
Right.
it difficult for him to just run through these zones. Because they see the same film we're looking at.
Yeah.
Guys are wide open. And these guys are not all pro or all world, although Evans is a future Hall of Famer, maybe, because the guy may have 100 touchdowns by now. But when you're man-to-man on a guy, you got to make whoever this quarterback is, they're not Kirk Cousins. If they don't put it exactly where it's supposed to be, it's going to land in your hands.
Yeah.
You got to make
that's
it
one thing they haven't done this year is turn the ball over much at all.
This is your first playoff experience. Will be this week, Sunday night, so everybody can see.
Right.
For everybody to see. It's a great opportunity. I mean, you can make history because this ain't supposed to happen. It's supposed to be bad, but you're not. So forget about Carolina, move on. But I need you to know this bigger than each player. It's about the history and the culture of this is a playoff win and you end for the next 2 weeks. You never know what can happen in the NFL. There's been a lot of upsets, lots of upsets. Just don't let you be one of them.
All right. Speaking of history, it's been 30 years since someone, I can't remember who it was, first jumped in the stands at Lambeau.
I'll call it Janet.
I think it was Reggie White, wasn't it?
He was a part of it.
Yes,
you think about that day, Tom, and I've been knowing you well over 30 years. That was nothing planned or because I'm a defensive guy. You never think that you would even do like celebrations, stuff like that. But I remember Holmgren stressing if one of you defensive backs or lineman, safety, or whatever, get an interception or a fumble, don't allow the ball because you're going to fumble. It's too cold. The game was frozen. So what I called the fumble. Vince Evans is the quarterback. Now, I'm thinking I caused a fumble. Bryce Pop and Tony Bennett, you'll see them. They're running around and they fall because the field was frozen.
Yeah, it was.
So when I'm looking around for the ball, I'm like, oh, I see Reggie. And I go over towards Reggie. I didn't fall, by the way. Thank you, God. God is good. But when I saw him, he was struggling with Steve Wisniewski, and we caught eye contact. He's going to let out the ball. And I'll never forget getting that ball and running down the sideline. It was so loud. And I just can imagine the people in the front row say, wait a minute, this guy's not stopping. What? You just scored. It's a big play. And I just remember throwing the ball down and jumping up into the stands. And what I would never forget was humbly saying this, I think it's the best celebration because it had to do with the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Without the fans, there is no Leap. Without the fans, there is no LeRoy Butler. I mean, it's just everything, the fabric of what we stand for, our fans, to jump up there and hug a shareholder. That's why it was easy for me to name Leap Vodka. And my email, everything, podcast, Leap 36 podcast. I mean, everything is Leap. People in Pick and Save, they don't even say LeRoy Butler. What's up, Leap? For 30 years, I mean, it's been amazing because think about it, it's hard to do 30 years of anything, but to play for one franchise, one fan base, it's the only way I could give back to them to say I love them. Robert Brooks really gets a lot of credit too because he made it famous when he put the record out, Jump in the Stands in '95.
Yeah.
And
because it didn't really take off right in the beginning.
No,
people didn't call it that or anything like that.
Right.
It wasn't until Brooks, because he was scoring all the touchdowns.
Exactly.
Right.
That's right. Yep. And so shout out to Robert Brooks. I mean, he put in Jump in the Stands. He did a video about it. I think Gilbert Brown's actually in the video. And it just was the brand of what started 30 years ago has taken off now because Robert and also Robert was smart enough to trademark it so no other team can steal it.
Well, it seems like it was hardly 30 years ago, but
I know,
yes,
right?
it was. Yeah. And I'll bet you Brooks can still probably get up into the stands. I know you
Oh,
can't, but I bet you
what?
Brooks can, you know.
Did you see the front the Journal Sentinel?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think there was like a ladder in the background there.
We can't see that though. We can't see that.
Yeah.
Shout out to the young lady who wrote that story. Because
Richard Ryman wrote it and Sarah Klepping took the picture.
Yeah, Sarah. I've met, of course,
So
Ryman.
check that out on JS Online if you're interested in seeing the history of that.
So thank them very. I appreciate them.
So let's get a prediction.
Oh boy, where the Packers are at now is, I mean, this playoff mode. Jordan Love, who I think they may get 2 Pro Bowlers in. Jay Reed has a shot, but I think Jordan Love will be a Pro Bowler. And these are the games that you want to see your quarterback step up. And the defense, you got to keep them somewhere in the teens. You have to. It can't get in a shootout, because in a shootout, anything happens. I like the Packers to win 29-20, and Anders Carlson kicks 3 or 4 field goals, and you'll be going into the Bears game with a win and get in game the following week.
Sure.
But I look for Packers 29-20.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody want to thank before we head out?
Yeah, Pick and Save, of course. PickandSave.com is amazing. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shields of Milwaukee, who does all my Butler versus bullying thing when I visit schools and things of that nature. And again, please go to leapspirits.com. Anywhere you can find Leap Vodka, you can celebrate like I did. Celebrate like you scored, and pick up the vodka anywhere you can get alcoholic. Anywhere you download podcast, please check out the Leap 36 podcast. And I want to also thank Terzala, one of the best brewing companies on the south side of Milwaukee. They have some of the best signature beers. And shout out to Randa and Charlie Barons. They're some of my biggest supporters. I appreciate them. So thank you to the fans so much. We really appreciate it.
All right. And we will be back.
And you'll be blogging, right?
Live.
The game?
Yes, I'll be live blogging from US Bank Field on Sunday night. Remember, it's a night game, 7:20 p.m. kickoff. And it's going to be wild. It's going to be quite the event. And I think the atmosphere will be pretty electric. So, the Vikings fans are going to be looking to just stick it to the Packers. So we'll see what happens. Lot to be determined.
Yes.
So we will be back after that. And everybody have a really nice week and a Happy New Year.